Yeah, excuse my very late night video and very ungroomedness, but I just had loads of insights tonight on things that I've been looking for answers for ages, and I like to just jump straight on because if I don't, then I just forget like what I wanted to do a video on. So like I've been wanting to get some answers like internally for a while now on um like everyone is you pushed out, manifesting, being the creator of your reality, twin flames, um, spiritual connections, pulls to people, um, and how they all like interlink. So I started my she loves being in videos. So I started my twin flame journey around like 10 years ago now, which is kind of scary to think of it in those terms. I call it a journey rather than like a specific person because I have changed on my journey. Like, but it was that moment when I had a connection that completely woke me up, and I just felt like I had this constant cord to this person. My life no longer was my own. Everything became like 1,000 times stronger in the way that I was triggered. Probably just because I was experiencing a real. I was kind of like that moment that I was given a brief feeling of what it felt like to be completely in union with myself or whole, and then like that was taken away, and it was literally like someone had taken my soul and like ripped it out of my body, and I was like pulling for it, like I was yearning, and it was literally 24/7. I cried for like months and months. It was like just absolute obsession. I was absolutely devastated. I put it all onto this person rather than a journey at that time, and thought that if I didn't um, get with them and they didn't want me, that life would be basically over and I'd never experience joy or love again. And I didn't at that time think of it, there was nothing on the internet about it being an inner journey. It was all like basically about runners and chasers, and, you'll be really lucky if they ever come back. And I don't actually necessarily know if anything's changed or whether just I've come into a higher vibration. So the information that is coming into my awareness is of a different caliber, which I think is most likely the case because I see people now that have been going for a while, but they just weren't in my reality despite looking everywhere for them at the time. So yeah, I obviously knew that I was going through something that was out of this world, unexplainable by words. It was like I'd been possessed, like taken over. I was like telepathically connected and linked in. And I found out about twin flames quite quickly. So that was just a little bit of a background story. And since then, I've been on this journey of really trying to understand the journey, share it as I've gone along, which is why I leave a lot of my old videos there because I think it's a path. And I think there's certain things that we need to learn along the way, and maybe that will be different for everybody. And kind of more recently, so I saw manifesting obviously ages and ages ago around The Secret, and I never had any interest in it because when it came up I wasn't spiritual at all when I had my like sort of twin flame wake up call, although I'd always from a very, very young age felt like there was a person that I was meant to meet and no one ever lived up to them, and they were like just an energy, and it was since I was very, very young, and I just was never really that interested in relationships. It's like I didn't know anything spiritual. I didn't know about twin flames. I didn't know any of this stuff, but it was like no one could match up to this energy that I felt until, I had started getting really strong soul connections. So yeah, I heard about manifesting obviously along the way, after I'd already had that experience. And it never really resonated with me because it just felt like asking for things, like desiring for things, material things. And I never really had that much value on those things. Like, I have always obviously wanted to be comfortable and be abundant, but it's always been more important for me that I'm like in alignment with myself and that I'm following my path. Money and sort of things I enjoy, but they've never really been, I've always just known it not to be like an ultimate state. So I've never was never really very drawn to manifesting. And then I was doing a lot of mirror work, and that really, really helped me come into like where I could sustain physical, like high intensity relationships by acknowledging every time I was triggered rather than project it, like look at where the wound was within myself. That was really the key point to things changing on my journey. But then I got into Everyone Is You Pushed Out. And it's true. Everyone is you pushed out because you are God, you're the creator of your reality. Everybody that shows up is showing you parts of yourself that, well, they're just showing you parts of yourself. It's what heaven on earth is. It's when, you know, you have, there's no shards of you or projections of you that are showing you anything but unconditional love, because you're vibrating on that reality or that dimension or that parallel reality where heaven on earth is your reality, because there's no more like shards to wake up in it. I actually think, you know, a lot of the reason why we want to help people to sort of ascend and grow is because, you know, they are actually us. So if we want to actually go to our highest heaven on earth, then we kind of need to wake all shards that come into our reality up, right? So I really believe Everyone Is You Pushed Out, but and I tested it and it worked, you know, and I, you know, like by kind of going by the rules of just like ignoring the reality and continuing to ask for what I wanted. I got many things that I wanted. And I really feel like it's a hugely important step on the journey, however you do it, because it really made me understand that I was the creator of my reality. It kind of was a massive step in me not looking outside of myself anymore. And, well, I mean, I'm not human, but of understanding that's not an efficient way of doing things. And it really made me see that everybody just was reflecting me. It really was an important step. But I still feel like there's things missing with it. And I think a lot of it is the focus on desire. And this all ties in with that pulling that you feel when you meet these really strong connections and you just feel like pulled to them all the time. It's what I came to understand was this pulling is you looking outside of yourself, or being pulled outside of yourself because you're still trying to get things externally that you haven't gotten within. So when you're pulled to like a specific person and you feel like that pulling feeling, it's always something that you haven't yet found within yourself that you want them to give you, but they're not going to give it to you till you found it within yourself. And this is where Everybody Is You Pushed Out and mirror work are both really, really, like, you know, they work amazingly, because they both encourage you to acknowledge that and to like change the story, right? So it's not a trigger anymore. So for example, if you have somebody that isn't making you a priority, you'll find you're really, really pulled to them, you're really drawn to them because they're showing you where you're not making yourself a priority. So you do the inner work and then you'll either like not be drawn to them or you'll attract them. So I do believe that you can have anything you want, like anything you want. anyone you want. I don't believe there's any limits to manifesting. So if you want to play around with it and enjoy it, then do that. But I really was looking for the answer of how it all fitted in with twin flames and soul connections. And the answer that I've come to, at least right now, and this all came to me really clearly tonight, is that when you're manifesting things, even though you are the God and you're just creating things, you are still kind of looking outside of yourself. Because if you're creating wealth or a car or to be good in a job or to be dating a specific person, I totally believe that you can have those things, but it's about the fulfillment level. And I truly do believe that there is a connection and a purpose that is ultimately fulfilling because you have come to your inner union, and that is just being expressed outwards, and it will flow and it will feel really joyful, and the joy is within and it's reflected outwards. What it's so within, so without. And I really believe that while you're still kind of desiring things, you're basically you're still not complete within. So you're not in a spiritual union. And the thing is, if you're not in an unconditional spiritual union and you think you're unconditionally loving, then and you're hot and whatever, you've gone beyond like certain things, and I think there's like a high chance that you're spiritually kind of bypassing things, because that really is the law, that what's within, so without. So if what is without isn't harmonious union, then it's not inside either. And I think we have to be really careful with not kind of bypass, I call it like spiritual bypassing, part of the journey. So I think it's a very important stage, is understanding that you can have anything you want, because it really helps you see yourself as the creator and understand yourself as the power and creator of your life, of your experience, and that everybody is just a projection of yourself. But I think on the deeper level, it's when you no longer need and have desires outside of yourself, it will be like a natural coming in to like a heaven on earth. And that's kind of where I've got with it. I hope that made sense, because I'm kind of tired. It's midnight and I really want to go to bed. But I really wanted to just drop in before, because I knew that I would forget this in the morning. So yeah, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, like how everyone is you pushed out is the truth, but then so is twin flames. And that's where I'm at on my journey right now, is understanding that everyone is you pushed out, but while you're still grasping on the outside and you still have desires outside of yourself, you've not actually come into inner union, which is then reflected externally in, you know, twin flame union, your purpose. I feel like it will be more of like of that intuitive flow feeling rather than the manifesting. But the manifesting is really good. I mean, it helps you really overcome your fears and your blocks, because it just does, and it helps you see yourself as a creator. And I think some things are important to manifest, you know, and to look at and to observe. And you know, you're not meant to feel lack, and you're not meant to feel like you can't have things, and you're not meant to feel disempowered, like you're not the creator of your reality and you can't have anything you want. So understanding that you can have anything you want and not feeling disempowered, I feel has been vital for my waking up journey. I just don't feel like it's the end of the story. So yeah, that's where I'm at on my journey. And yeah, bye.